Next-gen hype. As the release for next-gen consoles slowly approaches, more and more games are being announced. On today's Theory Time, we're going to be talking about the latest entry in the Assassin's Creed series called Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Today I am joined by Jordan, Yovany, and Jonah to talk about what they think this game is going to be all about. General thoughts already on this Viking-era Assassin's Creed.
I think it's going to be one of the most epic ones that it's definitely going to be, after playing Odyssey, I could see this game being just massive, epic, especially next gen. Like, I just see beautiful graphics. Like, as soon as I heard that you're going from Norway to England, so you're going to be doing that traveling, I'm just thinking in my head, like, these lush, beautiful, green Norwegian fields, you know? And it's just, oh my God, it's going to be epic, I feel like.
I am really excited. Like, Odyssey was beautiful. Like, one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games, and I've been playing them since they first came out. And I'm just so excited for the amount of lore that they'll be able to get from this era of time. And I really like the comedy that they're including that we saw in the trailer, with them talking about how bloodthirsty and crazy the Vikings are, and then all of a sudden they're just like out playing with their family and whatnot. I think it's going to be a very nice narrative to have for the Assassin's Creed universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a different kind of narrative. Like, we've seen more modern takes, like with something like Black Flag, and now with the recent releases such as Odyssey and Origins, we've seen much more like ancient releases than this. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see where this one goes in regards to how they're going to handle that. I feel.
Well, they're already changing based on their start, which is Vikings. They're changing their combat system. It's going to be less stealth-based and more focusing on heavy armor and weaponry. I'll admit, I love that, but also I like to play tanks. So what are you guys' thoughts on that? Because it is Assassin's Creed. Is this considered being like a stealthy assassin?
I don't think it's gonna. I'm very excited. I think the way that they're focusing the combat works very well for the time period, and the character himself is a Viking. They're not very subtle people as we see in history. But I also have to think, like, Origins and Odyssey, they also really didn't, like, they gave you the option to be stealthy, but like you could also always had the choice of just like going to a camp and messing stuff up. Or like the game always made you feel like you were OP. I mean, Odyssey gave you superpowers pretty much. So I feel like they've slowly been going away from the stealth aspect to a much more like RPG aspect, where we can like make our own decisions if we want to play stealthy or not. If they're gonna completely wipe out the stealth, I might have a problem. But I don't know.
It seems like they still have, like, at least the weaponry we see in the trailer of that epic ending of the trailer with the, oh my gosh, that was great. But, so it seems like still have elements, but what about you, Jordan or Jonah?
I, for one, like, Odyssey had some stealth, but as my playing style developed with the new gameplay that they had in that game, I slowly kind of left the whole stealth idea, because it was so much more fun to just run in there and charge and take them on with the superpowers that you brought up. Mm-hmm. So the fact that like these are Vikings, it's a very different time. I feel like stealth just wouldn't fit it as well. So as long as we still have some of those elements in place, we still have the hidden blade, I'm all for changing up the gameplay even more. Just as long as we make it a little bit less clunky from Odyssey, mm-hmm. and really like hone in on what makes Assassin's Creed special, and we really get a very decisive and dynamic gameplay, I'm all for getting rid of a large portion of the stealth.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I like you guys said, I really don't think they're going to be doing away with all of it. Like, we still have the hidden blade and all that jazz. But I think that it's definitely going to be more fun to explore, kind of like this new aspect, like a Viking era combat. And like, I think that's going to open up like a lot of different opportunities rather than the classic, okay, let me sneak in, kill this one guy, sneak out. It's going to be, no, I'm going to carve my way through.
Yeah,
I-
I like that idea. But speaking of other types of combat, ship combat is returning. Do you like or dislike that kind of idea?
Well, I've always been a fan of ship combat since earlier Assassin's Creed. I know there's a lot of people who especially didn't like things like Black Flag and things like that were very, very heavy on ship combat. Um I don't know, especially with Vikings, I feel like ship combat is, and definitely naval kind of based missions and warfare are definitely gonna have to be emphasized upon, and I'm really excited to see what they do with that.
Yeah, I mean, ship combat has been in the game since the third Assassin's Creed 3. It's
Yeah.
been a very big thing, so to not have it in some form would be kind of weird at this point. And since we still like, it's not like Black Flag, it's not the main focus.
Yeah.
I think is a very fun thing to include in the game to mix the gameplay up. Black Flag just did it too much, but this one hopefully won't.
I like to always think about like in Black Flag Origin, Black Flag Odyssey, um, Assassin's Creed 3, the shipmates that you always had on the ship, for me, always made it like enjoyable. Always the fact that I would get on the ship and I would hear a new shanty. I would hear a new I would hear like them bantering back and forth. And then when it breaks down, when it goes crazy, they react to it. So I like the idea to see like this like Viking era, hearing like Viking hymns, you know, seeing like maybe during the time we can like, because it's the next gen, we get a much more dynamic ship combat where we can travel throughout the layers of the ship and see like the second layer of all
you
the
want
slaves that are
like
rowing.
full immersion.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like I that's what I think in my head. Like I had a friend that told me that very well, because I completely forgot that they had like music that you could only hear on the ships.
Wow. Okay, so let's go back to story. How do you see this game fitting into the Assassin's Order?
So yeah, right now, if we're going like storyline, it's crazy that it's all connected still. But I see this being like the first introduction of a real order of assassins that like they will take like throughout this game. We will slowly see more establishing of what we will see in Assassin's Creed 1, which is their most successful order growth. They're the biggest in Assassin's Creed 1.
So now, since Assassin's Creed has established that the gods of the ancient world are actually members of the first civilization, the Isu, which Norse deity are you most excited to see in the game?
Oh, Odin. I mean, they say it in the thing. They like are praying to him and calling on for his power. And I think it would be so cool to play like a Viking who gets to meet him and seeing where that story goes. Because like we had that with Odyssey, where he met some like of these legendary lores that the character has heard of for so long, and his like in awe of it all, finding out about Atlantis and all that. So having that with someone like where they really truly praise Odin, and like he is the thing that gives them everything and protects them. So I think that would be so cool to have.
Yeah, I'd be definitely excited to see Thor, especially with like the naval warfare and things like that. It would definitely be able to see a Thor-like character in the game. And my brother has just been constantly badgering me, being like, we're gonna be able to wield Mjolnir in the game. Definitely, it's gonna be like an artifact of Eden or something. And I'm like, okay.
100%.
See, I was actually just thinking about that right now that you just said that, Jonah. I could totally see like I would like to see like a battle of like Thor, or like a god that is able to like control an element that like we can see. Like is it like an Eden piece? Is like a piece of Eden that they're using, like some technology that's giving them this ability to control thunder and lightning? Or is it because they are gods, you know? But Isu gods, and they have that just like built into them, you know? Because the lore is that the Isu are just the future like the past, more advanced, futuristic version of us.
Mhm.
So, and they're genetically modified from the the other past.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it! There's so
Yeah.
much more. There's so much. It's insane. I
I
would
know.
just like to see the science. I like to see science.
So that's one thing I know personally that I would love to see this game, because a lot of games like God of War and everything, they only touch upon quote unquote like softer gods like Freya and stuff like that. I remember like gods of spring. I want to see
Older.
them get turned on their head and be used in like, especially for assassins. Like, I don't know. I like twisting the gods a bit, and I hope that they play with lore and not just be kind of stereotypical and go with Thor, Odin, and stuff like that, or Loki. Because while they're great characters, we see them in Marvel. But anyways,
Good point.
any ideas? Last question. Any ideas would you be excited to see in future games, like other areas of history or concepts for the Assassin's Creed game?
For me, this has been the era that I've been wanting to see for a very long time. Like, I've been dying for this game. So after this one, I'm very content with everything with the Assassin's Creed franchise. This is the game I've been waiting for.
I would like to I like to see like in later DLCs, like what they do with like Curse of the Pharaoh for Origins, where we can like get like just like maybe enter the layers, like the different levels of Midgard, and just like fight those gods that are connected to each level. I think that would be pretty interesting. I would also like to see maybe like after this era, maybe like a Ming dynasty, like some from some feudal Japan. That I know that's the second most demanded, highest requested like era that like we would like to see them in, and I feel like that would be pretty cool, especially like the technology is obviously like catching up to it, that we can see like a very bright, colorful, beautiful Japan at some point.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, like either like a feudal era or like an Edo period Japan, possibly even covering something like British and American like colonization and things like that in the Japan and China. That would definitely be like interesting topics, I think, for Assassin's Creed.
Now I'm thinking, because you just said that would work because the Templars are a Catholic group. There you go, Jonah.
We got it.
We got it.
There you go.
To them, right?
New co-writers of the Assassin's Creed game.
That's it. That's it.
We're scrapping Valhalla. Okay, but that's our time. Yet another edition of the Assassin's Creed franchise to be excited for. Any one of these series are likely to come to fruition. And I just made up a new one, which is I now want my favorite god to be the focal point, which is the big squirrel. In Norse folklore that climbs about the tree that is the whole world. Look it up. It's a great god. Anyways, even with everything that we do, know that there's bound to be more information in the future. So thank you, Jordan, Yovany, and Jonah, for talking with me today and giving us your thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching, and join us next time on Press Start.